Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learn back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. We're going to be talking about, really deep, profound, and provocative subject. I'm going to be talking about what I believe, which zodiac sign I believe has the longest face and head. And I'm going to elaborate and expound on that. Well, length, whether it be by measurement or how it appears relative to the rest of the body and just the general shape. So, that's really what I'm referring to when I'm talking about, the longest face and head of the zodiac. So now when we look at, first I'm going to start out with Aries and, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Now, as far as Aries goes, well, Aries, they have fairly, the length of the head, their face, tends to be lengthy. It's often a triangular shaped head, and they have, but at times, it can look kind of roundish, at times because it's got that, triangular shape. It could look a little bit shorter than it actually is at times, even though, the shape of Aries head tends to be long and, very chiseled, kind of look and, very oblong and high cheekbones. But I'll get, to that at the end of the video and, as to whether I think that's the zodiac sign that has the longest face or not. Now, going to the zodiac sign Taurus. Well, Taurus is a feminine sign, and when I say feminine, I'm talking about introverted sign. And these signs, introverted signs, tend to have more of a rounded kind of head and a face, and not really an oblong appearance. But Taurus, tends to have a full face, a roundish kind of head, sometimes squarish. I wouldn't say Taurus would have the longest face or head of the zodiac. So, but going to Gemini. Well, Gemini can be a viable candidate for having the longest face slash head of the zodiac because Gemini can have, rather thin face, and it can appear, in terms of the shape and appearance, it can appear thin and long, and it does, Gemini does tend to have an oblong shaped head. Sometimes it gives that illusion that it's longer than it is because it's, a thin, shaped head. It was interesting. There was one time I had a friend of mine in New York, and he had a Gemini ascendant. As many of you may know, I have Taurus rising, and we actually, measured our faces, and we line them up in a mirror or something, and they were actually the same, length, in terms of the faces. And he was like 6'2", and I'm 5'11". So, I thought it was a little bit odd, him having a Gemini rising, having, I thought his face would have been longer than mine, but it was interesting anyway. But the other thing is, though, but Gemini, even though, even if the shape, the actual length is not very long, it can have that oblong look. So Gemini could be a candidate for the longest face slash head of the zodiac, and I'll divulge at the end of the video whether that is the sign or not. Now, going to the zodiac sign Cancer. Well, Cancer would be, a sign I wouldn't really see as having, the longest face on average in the zodiac. Cancer inclines toward a round head, or it could be oval, kind of shape to it. Maybe between short and medium long, I would say, on average. Now, Cancer can have a long, big forehead, but the shape of the face is generally, not long or lengthy. So I wouldn't say the zodiac sign Cancer would have the longest, face slash head on average. Now, I'm going to go to Leo. Well, Leo may be a candidate considering it is a masculine sign. When I say masculine, I mean extroverted sign. And but it's not, I mean, they can have, fairly, type of a, strong, face and oval in shape, and the face tends to be strong and hard in appearance, and can appear lengthier than at least the feminine signs on average. But I don't believe Leo would be, the sign that would have the longest, shaved head or face on average, whether it's based on, how it appears to be or actual length, or relative to the rest of the body. So um, the next sign I want to talk about is Virgo. Well, Virgo tends to have, feminine sign. They tend to have an oval or roundish shape head. They are Virgos often can be slender and thin in terms of their visage and appearance, but in the face sometimes could be thin as well. But I don't really see Virgo as being the zodiac sign that would have the longest shaped face or head on average. It does tend to be, between like around, about average in length, sometimes a little shorter than average. So I'm going to say no to Virgo. Now, going to Libra. Well, what's interesting about, the zodiac sign Libra is the fact, okay, they are a masculine sign, which is an extroverted sign. But their face, sometimes can have, like a regular, average type length, to an appearance. They can have the strong, cheekbones at times, I've noticed. They tend to have a harder face than the feminine signs, but I've noticed some, and especially when I look at the ascendant and rising sign, because that's what, of course, dominates, the appearance. And when I look at Libra, sometimes, their head could actually be a roundish type of shape, which is odd because they are a masculine sign. Of all the masculine signs, Libra seems to be the one that has, the face that is rounder on average. And but Libra can also have, in some cases, they have more of an oval type shape head and a fairly, hard face with the cheekbones being strong. But I would say Libra is not, the zodiac sign that has the longest or, lengthiest face on average. Now going to Scorpio. Well, Scorpio, being a feminine sign, I'd be hard pressed to say that they are the ones that have, the longest or lengthiest type of, shape of their head on average. I would say, looking at Scorpio, they often have a squarish or rectangular shaped head, broad jawline, and the face generally tends to be about medium long for Scorpio. So I wouldn't say Scorpio has the longest face on average. Now, going to Sagittarius, now you talk about a very, viable candidate to have the longest shaped head or face in the zodiac. It was funny because it makes me, reminisce, something, talk I had with my mom one time when we were both enamored with astrology. And this is back in like the late 1980s, and we were looking at, a movie, and Donald Sutherland was an actor, Donald Sutherland, and I guess she had may have asked me, inquired about what ascendant I think he had, and I just said long, lengthy, horsey. And then she said Sag, meaning short for Sagittarius, but turned out he had a Virgo rising. But the point I was making was that a lot of people will identify Sagittarius, and they do tend to have actually a long, lengthy type of face, and with high cheekbones, and whether it's in appearance or the actual length. So I would say Sagittarius would definitely have to be a very strong candidate in terms of, the longest shaped head slash face of the zodiac. And I'll tell you at the end of the video whether I think Sagittarius is that one or not. Now going to Capricorn. Now it's interesting with Capricorn, right? Because Capricorn is a feminine sign, and the feminine signs, tend to have, more of a shorter, type rounder shaped head, more so than the masculine or the extroverted, zodiac signs on average. But Capricorn, they're, out of all the feminine signs, I would say their face and head, tends to be a little bit longer, on average, whether it's in shape or actual length, more so than the other zodiac signs on average. But I don't know if I would say that they are, they have the longest shaped head of the zodiac, but I'll let you know at the end of the video whether I think it's them or not. Now, going to the zodiac sign Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is it's a masculine sign, and Aquarius tends to have, it often can have like a squarish or rectangular shaped head, and it does tend to be, I would say, longer than average in terms of whether it's the actual length or the appearance, its visage, what it appears to be to others, just a general shape. But I don't know if I would say they have the longest face of the zodiac. So um, tune in, watch the end of the video when I disclose, the answer to this. So, whether it is Aquarius or not. Now, going to Pisces, it would be very difficult for me to say that the zodiac sign Pisces would have, the longest shaped head slash face of the zodiac. Because Pisces head tends to be, more of a rounder type of nature, can be rather heavy. The face can be rather full and fleshy, and looking, based on, how it looks, it tends to be, more of a between like a rounded or oval type of shape to the head. So Pisces, whether it's the actual length of the head, or it's the visage, the appearance of the face, how it, just the general shape of it, I wouldn't say that Pisces would have the longest face slash head of the zodiac. Now, I'm going to divulge and disclose now which zodiac sign I believe has, the longest, face slash head on average, and whether it's based on the actual length, relative to the rest of the body, or whether it had, the appearance of the general shape of the head. Now, I would say it's unequivocally Sagittarius. I mean, Sagittarius is known, we would say notorious for having the long, kind of lengthy face, been referred to as horsey even, and they do generally tend to have, a long type of face on average, and head, the cheekbones can be very emphasized, and the face can be long and thin, and even when it's heavy, it seems like there's something about the general shape of, Sagittarius face slash head on average still can look long, at least look longer than most other zodiac signs head or face on average. And this is, I mean, keep in mind though that you have to look at modifying influences, in the chart as well, and because I mean, somebody that has a Sagittarius sun, let's say they have, like a feminine ascendant, they have a Cancer or Pisces ascendant, on average, the shape of the head may be, a lot, in term, may be much, or at least a little bit, kind of shorter on average, than the typical, Sagittarius sun. So you got to factor in other things in the chart, and contraindicators. Not all Sagittarius, sun, moon, ascendant people are created equal. I really don't believe the moon really has much, impact on, on one's actual appearance. I do think it's more the sun and the ascendant. The ascendant is what dominates the appearance and physical body. The sun can play a role in the appearance, but I include the moon because I know there's some people that do believe it can impact the appearance, and which would include the face, the facial structure, length of it. So that's really what I wanted to get at, as far as when we talk about which zodiac sign and has the longest head slash face of the of the zodiac. Now, I do thank you for all for being here in this talking about this very deep, profound, provocative, astrological subject. And anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Leonard saying, stay well.